Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another chat with Castle Escapes and Clones. This is where we discuss everything in the Disney universe. We'll talk about Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, the Muppets, you name it. If it's Disney, we're going to talk about it. So, anyway, I'm. If you haven't subscribed already, please do and hit the bell for notifications and do like this post. If you are in the audience right now, we would love it if you would leave a comment to let us know that you're here. Otherwise, we will continue forward with my cousin and co pilot, Cousin Rich.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going all right. I was sick all weekend, so I'm still kind of recovering.
Yeah. Oh, we got Karen. Karen
Hello.
from Disney Inside Andy. Hello. Yay. Okay, hopefully others will trickle in as we speak. So you've been sick, huh?
Yeah. It was a 3-day weekend and I was sick all weekend.
I know.
We watched Black Panther on Thursday
Yeah.
afternoon, and like during the movie I can feel like something going on.
Yeah.
I thought it was just all the crying.
Right. Right.
So like sniffling and whatever. So I'm like, it's just probably that whole thing. But then
Yeah.
Friday up till literally like yesterday, I've been pretty bad. But now I'm
Mm-hmm.
kind of recovering. I'm recovering that recovery state where things are
Mm-hmm.
just like I don't feel bad. It's just I still have that kind of congestion from all that. So
Yeah. Karen said too many tears.
yes,
Yes.
way too many tears.
Yes, that would be a yes. Yeah, you have to be ready for your birthday
Yes.
weekend.
Uh-huh.
Holla, which is this weekend.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
this weekend's pretty big for the family. So you guys are coming over.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of friends and family. We're gonna go to Disneyland on Sunday.
Yeah.
Should be
That's
good
gonna be so
times.
fun. I know.
Yeah.
I'm super excited because all the
Right.
Wakanda stuff is happening. They got the Wakanda. They got the
Right.
Way of the Jabari. They got the intro of the new Black Panther, and then also she does some kind of ceremonial thing in the evening
Yeah.
at the Black Panther thing in the Celebration Gardens, as they're calling it now.
Uh,
Um, which is we guessed correctly. It is that area that is the queue for Hyperion.
which is like
And
the seat runoff section.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically the same, but they just added Black Panther stuff and a Black
Yeah.
Panther like head, and so she comes in and kind of like is blessed by Bast or whatever happens. So
Yeah.
I can't wait to see
I
it all.
was I was actually there on Friday.
Oh, you are?
Well, I was, however, that's when I really started feeling sick. So I got there, I started taking some video, but then I'm like, I can't. I just
Yeah.
felt terrible, so I left. So I didn't get to do because I was gonna do a whole because it was the first day of the holidays
Yeah.
on Friday, and I was to do a whole video on everything. I couldn't make
Yeah,
it.
I know.
I was
God,
there for like 2 hours, and then like I just couldn't. And I went home. So I'll have to do that
there's
another time.
yeah, there's so much I have to do. That all that Wakanda stuff. Then Clara Cluck and Daisy Duck come out in like new outfits at California Adventure. Then all the outfits at Disneyland, and then I have to see the dance party in the evening. So I got my work cut out for me.
It's gonna be a long day.
What do you think?
It's gonna be a long day.
I thought you said you Bombay.
Also,
I was like, is that? Are you trying to
yeah.
segue into our next topic, which is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which I know Karen has seen.
Yay.
So anyway, we are going to do a non-spoiler just for. I know that Karen's seen it, and I don't know if anybody else is out there, but just in case anybody watches this before, because it's still a little bit early, and then maybe we can do our like spoiler thoughts at a later date. So anyway, it is the second biggest opening of 2022. The first being Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and it is the biggest opening in a November. So it's big, big, big. So what did you think of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever?
I liked it. I mean, I
Mhm.
do have issues with it,
Hmm.
and I think since we're not going to spoilers, basically my whole issue with it is I like the Wakanda stuff. I like the Talokan stuff. I don't like the Marvel stuff.
The Marvel stuff.
The stuff that they put in there to tie it to the Marvel universe. I thought there was time wasted on setup.
Like, are you talking about like having Ironheart in it, or
Yes. Ironheart, well, I like the character. She had
uh,
literally really nothing to do. Same
true?
thing with uh, what's his name? Bilbo Baggins.
Who?
Bilbo Baggins.
Oh, Ross. Yeah. Okay.
And everything involved with that.
Right. Right.
I thought it was more shoehorned in just to keep it aligned with what's we know is going to happen in Phase 5.
Yeah.
And so I felt like those parts took away from everything else. Plus, I acknowledge that this movie had a hard task. This movie was meant to be a T'Challa movie until Chadwick Boseman passed away. So it had to turn into a transitional. What do you do with that? How do you grieve that? But also, how do you move from Phase 4 to Phase 5?
Right.
And I think that's the part that took me like I walked out of that theater liking a lot of it, but then going, there's some parts where I'm like, didn't need to be in there. Not really.
All right. Well, first I just wanted to say hi to Seth and hi to Pete.
Hello.
Pete. Thank you for joining us. We are talking about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and we are doing non-spoilers because we know a lot of people haven't seen it. And so Cousin Rich was just giving his thoughts, which are wrong. No, I'm just kidding. No. Honestly, I don't. It didn't bother me. The Marvel stuff didn't bother me. And in fact, I kind of like the cameo. We'll just say in there that will tie some of the thing together. Like I was like, what?
Yeah, I had the same reaction. It's just
Yeah. And I liked Riri Williams. And I just thought that it was just, she did. Did she need to be in the film? I don't think so, but I just thought it was a kind of a good way to like cut through some of the stuff that they're going to have to do in the series. So, okay, so now she has a connection to Wakanda. She goes to MIT, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's not spoilers. Everybody should know that by now.
What?
I know. And let's see. Wait, I'm just trying to see what people are saying. So Pete hasn't seen it yet. And Seth will wait until streaming. Interesting. Uh, and Karen brought her mom, and she said it was quite long at some parts. And I'll agree to that too. I'll agree that there were some parts that were pretty long. And I do agree that they could have probably, it was 2 hours and 45 minutes. So it was kind of like, yes, did those things have to be in there? Not necessarily, but I felt like it made it interesting. But the thing that I loved was Namor, and that whole backstory, which we won't go into. Um,
Yeah.
but just how they made him, they were able to give us his origin story in like what, like 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. So I'll just say 5 minutes. I thought that was really kind of well done because we didn't need to have an origin movie for Namor. Although they did call him Namor in the movie, only he called himself Namor and his people.
I mean, that's very realistic.
Yeah,
You know?
it's realistic to like change a name.
Yeah.
So
So
I'm wondering if the rest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe will call him Namor. That would be interesting. But I love the whole way that they developed the people. Like I think it's much more interesting than Atlantis, and that just the way that they you know developed the culture just like they did with Wakanda. I thought that was amazing. I thought that they did a wonderful job at addressing the issue of Chadwick Boseman passing, and how they addressed it, and that it was very tasteful and it was very emotional, and yeah, that I'll just say that logo sequence, tears.
yeah, I mean, like this is how I think of this movie
Mm-hmm.
in terms of like if to put in like so for your perspective, it's the same way I feel about Wonder Woman, that movie.
Mm-hmm.
2/3 of it, absolutely perfection. It's when it became a DCEU movie, that movie fell. And it's not that I don't like the parts they added. I get it, but
Mm-hmm.
it took away from more of the story that I think suffered because they had to put in other things that didn't really belong in this movie, but it had to tie into the MCU.
Yeah.
I think that's where my issue with it is. It's not that I don't like. I love everything. I love Namor. I love his story.
Right.
I love the fact that you know because they didn't want to do Atlantis and a European kind of background,
Mm-hmm.
that they went with Mayan kind of thing,
Yeah.
and that Talakan looks like a city that would have been built not on a flat plane. Like you see Atlantis, it looks like a city on the
Yeah.
water. This
Right.
is built as if you're not restricted by Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like something that would actually be where they are.
Underwater. Yeah.
Right. I love like a lot of people might think the wings on Nemor's ankles are kind of silly. And
Right.
if you look at it,
Yeah.
yes, a lot of comic book characters look silly,
Yeah.
but they make it work. Like I loved the way he moved. I loved the way he fought.
Yeah.
I loved that story. It's just that then all of a sudden you're like, what are we doing here? And then you kind of just waiting for them to stop talking and then go back to the actual story.
Yeah, but I do think that they did it better than Wonder Woman did.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what it feels like to me. It was a great movie until it was not.
Right. I love it. And I can forgive the parts. Unlike Wonder Woman, I just cannot forgive the last act or the last whatever 1/3. But I did like the entirety of this film, even though I understand what you're saying and could take out certain parts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. What does Pete say here? I or the batteries and that little box of stuff that was on the table that you took in yesterday. What? I or the batteries, that little box of stuff.
Maybe that wasn't for us.
Maybe maybe that wasn't for us. All right. Well, yeah, we will try to do a more spoilery thoughts at a later date, I think. Don't you?
Yeah,
Because there's so much to talk about.
My thoughts lie deeply in the stuff we can't talk about.
Yeah, exactly. That's it is. It's very hard to talk about the film without giving anything away. So anyway, yeah, those are our non-spoiler thoughts. All right, so on to Disney news. According to a memo sent to Disney execs from Bob Chapek, Disney is going to be doing hiring freezes, layoffs, and cost cuts, and they will be creating a quote unquote cost structure task force. God, that photo of him makes him look 100,000 years old, like he's Gandalf or something. I am fully aware this will be a difficult process for many of you and your teams. We are going to have to make tough and uncomfortable decisions, but that is just what leadership requires. And I thank you in advance for stepping up during this important time. And that's Bob Chapek quote. That quote just makes me a little uneasy.
Yeah, it feels like the era where California Adventure was coming up and Disneyland Paris happened, and because of all that shenanigans, they brought in that dude who was essentially there to cut costs.
Yeah.
And then we got what we got, and everything is terrible. And
yeah, that's what I'm fearing, is that we're going to be in a time where just everything will be cut and nothing will happen.
Yeah.
And we're entering the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company. This is not a time to start cutting costs.
No.
I mean, it's as a business person, it is, but as a company, I just think that it's embarrassing, personally.
It is. In an era with, the 100th anniversary of Disney, with Disney Plus and the Marvel stuff and the Lucasfilm stuff coming out, it's just, it feels like there's a lot of stuff good happening, and then this comes out and you're like, to me it just smells like the bad financial planning. He's and I just get that gut feeling where it's going to be one of those downward spirals again until he's gone, he gets replaced, and then someone who is both creative and innovative, or at least understands how innovation plays into everything, to go back into an upswing.
I mean that's what I'm hoping happens. Is that I mean, there's just so much. Like I've read about several board members wanting to have him fired, and so it's just it's not like I want him to fail,
Yeah.
but it's just everything he does seems to I mean, I've had so many friends who've lost jobs at Disney because of all this stuff.
Yeah.
And yes, I understand that the company was very impacted by COVID. So I get that. And I get that costs money and things like that. But at the same time, it just feels like the oh my god, what am I trying to say? The you know that feel when you have that I can't think of what I'm trying to say. The word just popped out of my head. But anyway, the enthusiasm of the um, staff, the cast members, must be staggering.
Like their morale.
Huh?
Like their morale.
Morale, that's the word I was trying to search for. Oh my god, it just like popped out of my head. I tell you, I'm getting so old that like words just get shoveled out of my head.
Yeah.
Words and names like every second. So anyway. So
But
yeah, not
and
fun.
I don't know. I can't pretend to know how it is to run a multi-billion-dollar
Yeah.
company,
Yeah.
but I feel like I don't know what he's trying to do with the parks. I get price increases. I
Mm-hmm.
do. But once you start pricing out families,
Yeah.
who are you aiming for?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows?
You
I
know?
mean, the thing is that they always say supply and demand, that people still pay. I mean, you and I, we still paid for it, even though for me, it's really expensive. the
Yeah.
the AP that I got, or the magic key that I got, I should say. Um, but that's my entertainment. It's the thing that brings me happiness, so I
Yeah.
can't cut that out of my life. And it's real, but it's really hard. My sister, with her three boys when they were growing up, um, I was fortunate enough to know cast members who could sign them in because she wouldn't have been able to afford bringing three children
Yeah.
to the park.
Like my friend for this weekend, she doesn't have a pass.
Mm-hmm.
So it cost her $244
Yeah,
for a
yeah,
park hopper. Almost
for a
300,
park
like
hopper.
$244. So
Mm-hmm.
like, the plan on my birthday, we're gonna go early and try to get her money's worth for a little bit.
Yeah,
But yeah, like getting a magic key wasn't like the status of having a magic key. It was to save me money
yeah,
going, right? Um, and I don't know, like everything's going up in price and whatever, and
right.
it's
Yeah.
like, you know, and it's something I noticed, right? All the Christmas decorations have been coming up slowly earlier.
Mm-hmm.
There's some speculation that that's because there's less cast members, so they can't do a quick put everything up at once, so they had to do it slowly with who they got.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, when I went there on Friday, even the couple hours I was there, it was packed. So I'm
Yeah.
like, there's people coming in, there's people spending money. Like,
People have gone.
what is going on? Your movies, your Black Panther, for a year with
Mm-hmm.
still not a lot of people going to movies, all your Marvel movies make bank.
Make a lot of money. Yeah.
So like, is it inflation? Is it this the demand for stuff, or is it just improper handling of your finances.
Yeah, that's the question.
Like maybe you don't need that much money.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's depressing. So let's move on to something bigger. I mean, better, which is the 2023 Grammy nominations, which came out today. There were a few that Disney got nominated for.
Oops.
Danny Elfman's main titles from the Multiverse of Madness soundtrack was nominated for Best Arrangement, Instrumental, or A Cappella. Nobody Like You, which deserves a Grammy from Turning Red, has been nominated for Best Song Written for Visual Media. Same with Encanto, got 3 nominations for that category for We Don't Talk About Bruno. Also, they got the Best Score Soundtrack for Visual Media and Best Compilation Soundtrack for Visual Media. Then West Side Story was nominated for Best Compilation Soundtrack for Visual Media. And finally, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy game has been nominated for Best Score Soundtrack for Video Games and Other Interactive Media. I tell you, some of these award ceremonies have like the craziest titles. So, yeah, that's really cool. I mean, like, we don't talk about Bruno and Nobody Like You are competing against each other, and I don't know which one I like more, because Nobody Like You is like really clever, but then Hello, We Don't Talk About Bruno, that was the song that was in my head for months.
It's a song in people's head are like, I don't like this song, but yet
I know, yet it's in my head. I mean, I love the song, so I'm not one of those people who didn't like the song and had it in my head. I do love that song. In fact, I think a lot of songs from Encanto deserve to be nominated. Surface Pressure for one. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm biased, but I'll always pull for Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Yeah, true. And we're gonna have some fun news about him in a few minutes.
Yes.
All right, so Pirates of the Caribbean. There was a Margot Robbie version that was supposed to be female-led, and unfortunately, it doesn't sound like it's happening anymore. She told Vanity Fair, we had an idea and we were developing it for a while to have a more of a female-led, which we thought would have been really cool, but I guess they don't want to do it. So it sounds like that's not happening anymore. And maybe it's for the best. Maybe we put aside the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise for now, pick it up later. I think, personally.
I think you're right. I think it's still I think it's too soon, even though it's been years since the last one, but like everyone associates those movies with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
And he's been kind of steeped in controversy for a while. I think they want to kind of pull back from, not to say using them, but like, there's a whole stigma around that. So I think they need to give it a couple years and then really look at that and then figure out what they want to do.
Yeah.
With that franchise, or start over or go in another direction. I mean, obviously this is going to be not about Jack Sparrow, but I think what would happen is people will be able to be like, should have got Johnny Depp.
Mm-hmm.
But you give it a couple of years where the point where Johnny Depp is not probably wanting to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
And bring in a younger cast so that you can build up another franchise within that IP.
Right.
It can take place during the same time period. Ocean's a big place.
Yeah.
Well, the Caribbean, but there's other ships, there's other pirates. Do that.
I Agree. Also, for the audience, I I know that I am a little bit out of sync. I don't know why my camera is doing that every so often, but uh, hope I might be syncing up sooner rather than later. Okay, let us move on to Disneyland news. The Adventureland Treehouse, which was Tarzan's treehouse, it is being made over, not to be the Swiss Family Robinson treehouse, but that it will pay homage to the 1962 movie and um, the original treehouse that was there before, which was the Swiss Family treehouse, and I think it will go well. Honestly, I love Tarzan's treehouse. Because I love the
Right.
movie Tarzan, and I felt like that's an IP that doesn't get enough attention. Um, I'm not opposed to this. I just don't quite know why they wanted to do it, but they are. And I mean, if I were to change it, I would have done it in like an Encanto kind of thing, which were the rumors about it, but I don't
I'm
know.
actually glad they didn't, because I feel like that Encanto needs a better thing than the tree.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say I thought they were working on a in Swiss Family Robinson reboot.
Movie?
That's what I thought.
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Oh, Cammy. Hi, Cammy. How are you? And no, you're not. Don't be sorry. We're just glad you're here. And I apologize that I'm out of sync. All right. It's a Small World is has gotten during the holiday retrofit has added some of the dolls in wheelchairs, which for me, being a mobility challenged person, I appreciate. I think that's great.
Yeah. I think there's two.
That's great. I
I think
like
there's
it.
one. This picture is in the last room,
Hmm.
and I think the other one's in the South American room.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to. That's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to riding is Small World Holiday because I tell you, it can be even after the holiday. Like rode it in um, January, and it just still makes me feel like, oh, I can't wait for the holidays. If it's January. So it's great.
Just to go back onto Swiss Family Robinson, Ron Moore and John Chu were attached to the remake for Disney Plus.
Oh, okay, okay,
But we haven't heard. I don't think we've heard anything about it. It was the news broke in like 2022 or 2020. So,
yeah,
and I know Ron Moore is tied to the C, the Society of Explorers and Adventurers
right.
stuff. So I wonder if it ties into that since he's attached.
I bet you that it would. Will. I mean, that would be great if it did. So
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Well, like I said, I don't object to it. I don't object to it. I just think that um I don't know. I just like the Tarzan treehouse, but I'm not one of those people who can't be swayed into change. All right, Percy Jackson, Lin Manuel Lin Manuel Miranda, as we know, popular actor, songwriter, and playwright. Um, he is being cast as Hermes in the Percy Jackson series, I should say. Um, and Hermes in Greek mythology is the herald of the gods, played by Paul Schaefer in the animated movie. And he is Percy Jackson's cousin. So that's fun.
I'm actually looking forward to this series.
You what?
I'm looking forward to this series.
I am
I
too.
liked because I'm whatever. I can't remember which one I saw, but I kind of liked it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the series.
I like Greek mythology.
Yeah.
And I did like the Percy Jackson movies. So yeah, I'm totally excited about it. And Lin-Manuel Miranda in it. Hello. Now, if he just writes some music for it, that would be great. Make it a musical.
I don't know if that's the way to go.
Well, all right. Another thing that's coming out, Princess Diaries 3. It has been confirmed that the third film in the Princess Diaries series is under works. And it will be a continuation of the Mia, what's her name? Mia Thermopolis? Yeah, something like that. Anyway, the one that starred Anne Hathaway. It's going to be a continuation of that, but there's no deal with Anne Hathaway right now, or we don't even know if it's going to star Anne Hathaway at all. Maybe it will be somebody else. So who knows? But I enjoyed the Princess Diary movies.
Yeah. Yeah. It's where we all met Anne Hathaway. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know if that was her first, but that's the first I remember of her.
Yeah, that I can't remember if it's her first either, but yeah, I'm excited for it. I really enjoyed those films, and I know that she kind of wanted to get away from her Princess Diaries thing for a while, but now that she's big enough, I think she can make a return without her feeling like you know people are judging her anymore.
Right.
You know
I
what I
think
mean?
she's accomplished a lot since then. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that I think that she's accomplished a lot since then.
they always
And
return.
what do you say?
They always return. Han
Yeah,
Solo, Luke Skywalker,
true. Yeah, true.
Goblin, both
She's the
Spider-Man.
she's the Han Solo of
Like
Disney movies.
I mean, like it's mostly like Mark Hamill wanted to get away from the stigma of being Luke Skywalker. So he did it, did
Mhm.
his stuff. And then years later, he comes back.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Um. So we'll see. Like I suspect I don't know. Like maybe it's not about. Maybe she's not the main character anymore, but she's the older to a younger princess.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna go out for a second and come back in because the lag is bothering me, and I'm hoping that if I just come back in, it will be better. Okay,
Sure
be
thing.
back.
Bye. Now what do I talk about? How's everyone doing? Um. Yeah. You don't know what's going on with his lag deal, but we'll see. Also, I need to convince him to oil his chair. So, unless anyone has not noticed, his chair is a little squeaky. Oops, there it is.
Yeah, we still have a lag. I'm sorry, guys. Um, I don't know what it is with this stupid camera, but anyway, yes, I know my my chair is squeaky. It drives me nuts. So anywho, let's see what they're saying in the chat. Karen is saying hi to Cammy. His words and his mouth weren't matching up. Yeah, I know. And yes, it is squeaky. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I keep saying I need to oil this chair, but it probably won't be until after I come back from Disneyland. So, anywho, all right, let's go on to Lucasfilm. The Acolyte cast has been announced with a synopsis, and The Acolyte is a mystery thriller that will take viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with his Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the force they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. And then the cast that's been announced is Amandla Stenberg from The Hunger Games, Lee Jung Jae from Squid Games. It's a great series if you haven't seen it. Manny Jacinto from The Good Place, yay for Filipinos. Daphne Keene from Logan. Jodie Turner Smith, who has no credits here, but I
I don't
have
know what's
heard
this
that
from.
name.
Yeah.
Rebecca Henderson from Russian Doll, Charlie Barnett from Russian Doll, Dean Charles Chapman from Game of Thrones, and Carrie Ann Moss from The Matrix. That is quite the cast.
Yeah, you got X-23 and Trinity.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, there's also a picture of Amanda and Lee Jung Jae on set.
Uh
I
huh.
think they play the um, former Padawan and Jedi Master. At least that's what, according to like the synopsis, that's who I picture them as because they seem to be the leads of the show.
Yeah.
Um, but then again, who knows? I just hope Carrie Ann Moss plays a Sith.
Oh, that would be good. That would be
Yeah,
good. I mean, she does play kind of a good sinister character.
yeah,
Um, what was I
yeah.
going to say to you? Oh, do you want to tell people this is like an entirely different era that we will be used to seeing?
Yes. So, um, in the movies and shows now, only really cover specific eras of the Star Wars universe, but the books and comics and video games have covered um, more.
Hmm.
Like currently, the books are takes place in an era known as the High Republic, and the High
Yeah.
Republic is about 200 years before um, the prequels, right? So it's a different
Hmm.
era. It's a different like the Jedi are more. They act more like Knights of the Round Table than monks that we
Hmm.
see kind of like in the prequel era. Um, their look is a lot different. They don't look like like the weird thing I think I thought about Star Wars is that why does every Jedi dress like Uncle Owen on Tatooine?
Yeah.
I think this happened. Like we saw Ben Kenobi living on Tatooine, dressed like Uncle Owen as well, and then they just adopt like George is like, I guess that's what Jedi look like. But
Yeah.
the Jedi of this era have more flair. I mean, they're more in the whites and golds
Hmm.
and stuff. But it is a kind of like they've lived in peace for a very long time, and the Acolyte takes place at the tail end of that era where it starts going into like why did the Jedi turn into like more what we know, you
Right.
know. So I'm excited. This will be the first live action or even anything outside of books and comic books that we see of the High Republic.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this project because
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I haven't read any of the books or the comic books, so I don't know anything about this era. But in a minute, we're going to talk about another show that I'm loving that is very different from what I've seen before, and so I'm just liking. Like I think that Star Wars has a lot of stories to be told in different ways, and so I'm really excited to see how this turns out.
This to me feels like more along the lines of like Winter Soldier storytelling.
Mhm.
The more spy kind of mystery thriller or whatever. We haven't seen in Star Wars really. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're finally breaking out of the typical kind of Star Wars stories.
Right.
Yeah. More of that.
Yeah. All right. So Studio Ghibli, all of a sudden started teasing that they were working on something with Lucasfilm. And usually when somebody teases something, it's like, okay, it's gonna be a while. And then they said it's coming to Disney Plus tomorrow, and it is called Zen, Grogu, and the Dust Bunnies, and it is the most adorable thing ever. I know that there are people who probably said why, and it doesn't make any sense, but first of all, it's Studio Ghibli. Studio Ghibli, for those of you who don't know what it is, that is the Disney of Japan.
Yes.
It is, they came up with like Kiki's Delivery Service and My Neighbor Totoro, Porco Rosso, Princess Mononoke, amongst other things. I know that Seth definitely knows who Studio Ghibli is. They're just the biggest name in Japan. And for them to do a project with Lucasfilm, I think was amazing. And it was just like such a surprise. Did you know about this?
No. I saw the same post. I think they went on Twitter and they just said like Lucasfilm. And you're like, I thought the obvious thought in my head was, oh, they would be part of Vision's season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was like the one thing I thought about Vision season 1, which is the anime series, or collection of shorts from different studios, anime studios in Japan. That
it would be part of
number
that.
one would be, Studio Ghibli.
And then, that's what I thought too.
And so I thought for sure, I'm like, awesome, they're going to be in season 2. And then I woke up the next day and like, oh, it's here.
I mean, I would love for them to do something in season 2.
Yeah.
Especially, with I just thought this was adorable.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
it's not long. It's like 4 minutes.
It's not long. It's 3 minutes long.
Something like that, yeah.
And it's literally about Grogu meeting the Dust Bunnies. The Dust Bunnies are from My Neighbor Totoro, by the way. And so they're like these literal dust bunnies with eyes. And they're just, I love it. I just love it. Yeah. So, anyway.
It's on Disney Plus, so, check it out. Yeah. Definitely. Also, I would check out Visions if you haven't yet.
Yeah, definitely check that out.
It's a good way of showcasing a different kinds of styles in Japanese animation. And I'm looking forward to season 2 of Visions, which is going to expand beyond Japan to other countries. And I'm looking forward to seeing what other studios get to do with it. Like, the stories and Visions aren't necessarily canon. It's basically Lucasfilm giving these studios freedom to do whatever they want, what any kind of Star Wars story they want to tell.
Mhm.
And some of them are really, really great. Some of them are kind of weird, but I think that's the
I think
beauty
it's just
of it.
the Japanese
Yeah.
sensibility. Hold on just a second. I just wanted to say hi to Kat. Thank you so much for coming in and joining us.
Hello.
We'll appreciate it. Okay, so anyway, I apologize for go ahead.
No, that was it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think that people should definitely check out Visions. All right, so ABC, FX, Freeform, and Hulu are going to air the first two episodes of Andor during Thanksgiving weekend. And this is, I think, an effort to get the more interest for Andor. If you are a Star Wars fan and you're not watching Andor, you are missing something. I know the first episode was kind of I don't know. I mean, it took me a minute to figure it out. Then the second episode I was in, and now I am totally like obsessed with the show.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but
Um,
I'm loving it.
yeah, this is definitely a series that once it's the first season's over, which is next week,
Yeah,
I do want to sit and talk about. Um,
Andor.
yeah. It's not your typical Star Wars show or anything. It's
Hmm.
it's totally different. In a good way. Um, you know, and I hope this keeps going, but there are no Jedi, no Sith, no Skywalkers. Um, it's really it's really a series that takes George Lucas's lived in world and really dials that in.
Yeah,
It's the story of how you get to the Battle of Yavin, how you get to the Battle of Hoth, how you get to the Battle of Endor. It's all the ground people. It's that part and how we go from the prequels to A New
hmm
Hope, right? Um,
I,
it's not a fun show.
No, it's not a fun show. It's very intense. There's a lot of political. I mean, like all that stuff with Mon Mothma and
Yeah,
her trying to fund the rebellion. I mean, like I'm like sitting there going, "Oh my god, please don't die, Mon Mothma!" Like I don't know that she survives into the sequel trilogy, but I'm totally hooked on it. Like I'm totally like there in the present. You know what I mean?
yeah. I'm
And
glad. Like the actress that's played Mon Mothma played her in the
in the sequel,
prequels,
in the prequel.
but that part was cut. So she was
Oh,
cast as Mon Mothma all those years ago. You can see her in a deleted scene, but she was never in the theatrical releases.
yeah.
And then they brought her back for Rogue One for a little bit, and she's voiced her in Rebels. But I'm glad she gets to really make that character
Mm-hmm.
like
From
intriguing. Like
yeah,
there's so much to her.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I just love her character, and I love that I can't remember her name, like Supervisor Moreau or something like that. The
The
woman who is like she. I mean, like, if you want to see how evil a middle
oh,
manager can
Ded-
be,
Dedra,
what's her name? What's her name?
Dedra, or Dedra, the
Is that her
Imperial.
name? Yeah, the Imperial.
Yeah,
Um. Oh, Kat says you have a nice hat, and yeah,
yeah,
that her character. I mean, like when she interrogates, I forget. I see that's a problem. Is I forget their names,
yeah. I
but
mean, like,
you know who I'm talking about.
it's probably best you don't say who it is
Yeah, true,
for people who
true.
haven't watched it. It's a lot. Even with her character, at some point you're kind of like in the beginning, you're kind of like, oh, I hope, like there's a part of her story where you actually root for her
Yeah.
at some point, and then something else happens, and you're like, no, no, no. It's like if you like the political aspects of like a Game of Thrones,
Mm-hmm.
it's that without the whole incest and stuff.
That's what I'm thinking. Is this is more like a political intrigue series,
Yeah.
and it's just I don't know. All the characters are so compelling to me, even though I can't remember the names. But I just like am in it. I'm like in the present.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I want a suit like Cyril, the accountant guy, with his tie.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
I like how I really I've had to applaud the costume designers on it, because it's like
Mm-hmm.
they had to create so many different things, but make it look familiar enough where you understand, oh, he's in a business suit, but it's
Yep.
not a typical business suit. It's a Star
Right.
Wars business suit.
Yeah, they should sell those in Galaxy's Edge.
I
Wouldn't that
know.
be fun?
I would
Yeah,
totally get that and wear that on.
yeah,
But yeah, I like, whatever Tony Gilroy what he wants to do, like,
hmm
my
yeah,
only stipulation is not, don't make every Star Wars from now on like this.
yeah.
This should be the way it is. Mandalorian should be the way it is.
And
Boba Fett could have been better, but like they are what they are. Acolyte needs to be what it is. That Skeleton Crew show with the kids needs to be what it is.
Yeah,
Have its
yeah,
own voice, own vision, own feel, own genre, kind of like Marvel does.
yeah.
Argument made that all Marvel movies are the same. It's not, but they
I'm
can tell
waiting
so
for
many different
Star
stories.
Wars comedy.
Yes, I would totally
Yeah.
accept Star Wars comedy.
I would too.
And I'm hoping that we get at some point Lando, where they mentioned that years ago, and that it's literally Billy D. Williams in some weird setting telling this story, and then you cut to, oh my God,
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover as the young Lando doing whatever it is, he's doing. So you bring Lando and both of them into the same project, and it's
Yeah,
this older Lando telling stories, and then Donald Glover is the one who stars in the adventures. It could be like a Chronicles, kind of like Young Indiana Jones Adventures, except
definitely,
it's Lando.
definitely. All right, so let's move on to Marvel. We've got a couple of stories here, and then we will be done. Agatha Coven of Chaos. They have a lot of cast that's been announced. Emma Caulfield, who was in WandaVision. She was also, for you Buffy fans, she was Anya. She's returning. Joe Locke, Ali An, Maria Dizia, Aubrey Plaza, who is in Parks and Rec, Sashir Zamata from SNL, and Eric Andre from the Eric Andre Show. Now, here's the one Joe Locke, who is from Heartstoppers. There's a rumor that he might be Billy from WandaVision.
Like,
I'm trying to remember which one is which.
which one's which?
Yeah, Billy Wiccan. He's going to be Wiccan, the character that will eventually become Wiccan.
I can see that.
And yeah, because of his sexuality and because he kind of looks like him. So that's a rumor, though. So I don't take that for word. But Aubrey Plaza, I cannot wait to see her in it, because she was in the FX show Legion. Did you see that show?
I did not, but I know she was in it.
Yeah, she was evil. And like she was like crazy evil. But cool, like in a cool way. And I can imagine her going toe to toe with Catherine Hahn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she says something. Aubrey Plaza, I read something where she said that she gets to go toe to toe with Catherine Hahn. So I'm really excited to see who she is and what it's all about. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, go ahead.
You know, like when they're announcing this and I saw her name, I'm like, oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Like it just makes sense that she's in a story about Marvel witches.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
She can play cuckoo really well. And I think that would be really cool.
She was a grumpy cat.
She was?
Yes. You ever see that movie? Based on that cat? She was the voice of Grumpy Cat.
That's so funny.
Obviously she was in Parks and Rec with Star-Lord.
Yes. I know, exactly. Yeah, you got more alumni coming from there.
There's a lot of comedians in this cast.
There is. Although Aubrey Plaza can play it straight. I mean,
yes.
She doesn't have to be, but it would be fun. I'm not familiar with Eric Andre, but
he's a straight up comedian. Shoshiro Zamato was on Saturday Night Live for a couple of years. She was really funny. I thought she was really funny on that show.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know what the show is going to be about. I don't know how it's going to go, but you know, the more I see of it, the more I'm like, I want to see how this goes. I want to see where this goes and how this leads into phase 5/6 and where they end up. You know, like where do they end up in this King Secret Wars thing?
Yeah, I really want to know that too.
And it's one of them a Skrull.
Yeah, and I want to know, will Elizabeth Olsen
appear?
At least make a cameo. I mean, that would be. I
feel like she would have to.
I know. Point. I feel like she would have to as well, or something would have to happen. So anyway,
what if that's why? Because the last we saw Agatha, she was trapped in her persona, Agnes persona. What if what happened in Multiverse of Madness snaps her out of it?
Yeah, like that moment when maybe, you know, like at the end when she flashes.
Yeah.
Maybe there is some kind of well, bye, Karen. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're almost ending soon anyway. So anyway, that would be very interesting. But you know, Kevin Feige is has already teased that she's going to make a return somehow, because
I mean, we got this, and we have a vision
one. Yeah, that somewhere she's got to return. So and I think she likes playing Scarlet Witch. So,
and I think, despite what she's done, like she's gone through a lot, and I feel like that character deserves a fitting,
better ending than I agree. Her character, I think, had such development over the years. It's amazing. Like, because at first I was like, I don't like the way that they're doing Scarlet Witch. And then now where I'm like, oh my god, I love Scarlet, like my favorites. So anyway.
Yeah. I mean, who would have thought an Olsen sister?
Would be
our like one of our favorite actors.
Right. Anyway, this is going to be released in late 2023. And if you were me, if you saw my Facebook where I thought this week we were in 2023, it would be happening soon, but nope, I have to wait a year. Yep. And it's rumored to have at least 9 episodes. All right, so the last thing that we have to talk about is David Harbour has been teasing Thunderbolts. In an interview with Gizmodo, he said the arc of the movie and how it functions, it's super cool. The idea is really cool. It'll be funny, it'll be weird, it'll be action, and then we're also going to drop a bomb, which is cool. He also said about Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova and his relationship with her, what director Jake Schreier wants to do with Florence's character is very interesting, and how I factor into how we develop our relationship is very interesting. So that's a lot of interesting stuff. I mean,
I'm
the bomb dropping has really now got my wheels spinning. So
I mean, like, I'm sure this ties in Secret Wars and well, I mean, and stuff, and
yeah,
some of what happens in Wakanda Forever. I'm yeah, I'm curious to where this is going and how this team is, how Bucky plays into this.
right.
Because I know there's a lot of stuff like like I think the contract with Florence Pugh is multiple things. So like, what else is she going to do? Is she going to officially become the Black Widow or what? Yeah, I I'm curious if David Harbour is just going off script, because Marvel always had, like, you see interviews with anybody in the Marvel anything, they're always like,
Yeah,
I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it. I can't really talk about it. These seem like enough teases where it was like, if anyone asks you, hype up Thunderbolts and say this.
yeah.
This is this
I
is
know.
this is what you can say. You can talk about.
I can't talk about anything. Well, I mean, honestly, though, he didn't really give any information, but he
Right.
made it more
But
exciting.
this is more than most people say in interviews.
Yeah, I mean, the bomb dropping, that's the part that I'm like, is
Yeah.
Marvel like
Is
going,
Kevin
are
like,
you the new Tom Holland?
right?
or what's his name?
Ruffalo.
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it's fun. I think it's fun and it's interesting and it's gonna get me thinking. So
And it's going to have
I
Han
mean
Solo.
I mean I'm excited for this movie regardless.
No.
So whether what he says or not. And honestly, I'll forget what he said in about a week. And then I'm like the kind of person where I can listen to spoilers and I will forget about it once I'm watching the movie, because I just am in the present, when I'm watching something, and so yeah. But anyway,
I'm gonna
just
call it.
I just thought it was a fun little thing to talk about.
I'm gonna call it now. The bomb is Steve Rogers has been a Skrull the whole time.
That would be interesting. Oh my god, that would be way interesting. I just can't wait to see who's a Skrull and who isn't.
That
That's
whole
all
thing.
I'm.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. I don't.
Yeah. If you haven't watched Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the cartoon, I would highly recommend it. They do a really cool Skrull Secret Wars arc.
Yeah, I still need to watch that series.
It's really good.
I've got it on my list of things to watch.
Like, it's the most Marvel MCU proximity that
Yeah,
I've seen. Like it's not, but it's very similar
right.
ish. Yeah.
It's
So,
kind of like how X-Men the 1990s X-Men kind of took
yeah.
the closest to the stories that you're going to get
Yeah.
in an animated form.
Yeah. It's like they took comic books and put the characterizations from the MCU into those
Mhm.
stories.
Yep.
Because Tony very much acts like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Thor. Thor's
They always.
kinda.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're saying about
Yeah.
Thor. Yeah.
But it's really good. It's one of those things where it ended. I was really upset.
Yeah.
Because they
I know.
replaced it with a new
Avengers
one.
Assemble wasn't.
It
wasn't
not.
as good.
No.
So, yeah. Well, that is it for what we have to talk about. Did you have anything else you wanted to bring up, or before we close?
I think next week's episode is gonna be different.
Okay.
It's probably gonna be what we talked about instead for a fun Thanksgiving week thing.
Yeah.
So stay tuned next week. We're gonna have hopefully Thom with us.
That would be.
It's been a hot minute since we've seen
Thom.
him.
Yeah. We
We
miss Thom.
So tune in next
Friend
week.
Thom.
Friend Thom will
Yes.
hopefully join us for some fun kind of things.
Right.
Unless there's like big breaking news that we have to cover.
Yeah, I know.
On Thanksgiving week.
Which could happen. And we can bring it up, but we'll probably mostly talk about the weekend.
I mean, I was hoping for Indiana Jones trailer.
Could you imagine all of a sudden the weekend they drop an Indiana Jones trailer and we're like, what?
I know, right? They'll call an emergency live broadcast. And they're like, "You gotta talk about this.
Yeah.
What just happened?"
He's so funny.
All it is his hat.
Right.
Right. And that's it.
Or they all of a sudden announce that there's a Star Wars movie coming out next month. Yeah. Like, if we could do it with Studio Ghibli, we could do it with.
It's like that was just a tease. They did a whole movie.
Yeah, exactly. That would be funny.
Called Snaggletooth.
Right. All right. Yeah. Well, if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, we'd really appreciate it if you did so. Hit the bell for notifications and do like this post. And with that, I'm no longer doing this because it makes no sense. So I'm just going to say we'll see you later and goodbye.
Catch you on the flip side. Oop, wasn't ready. Right, I'm ready. Now I'm ready. Bye. Thank you.